Ashington was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone. It was the sort of town where you couldn't walk down the street without bumping into a familiar face, and every neighbor had a story about your family. Life moved at a gentle pace, and there was a comforting predictability to each day. Kids played in the street until sunset, and nobody locked their doors. The air was always filled with laughter and the sound of bike wheels spinning on the pavement. Parents watched from porches, chatting with each other as the sun dipped below the rooftops. My parents felt safe, and so did I. Our home was a haven, a place where worries seemed to melt away as soon as you stepped inside. There was a sense of trust that wrapped around our little community like a warm blanket. That's why, at 12, they finally let me stay home alone for the first time. It felt like a rite of passage, a sign that I was growing up and could be trusted with a little responsibility. They were off to a party, and I was buzzing with excitement. The idea of having the house to myself was thrilling. No bedtime, no one telling me to turn down the TV, just pure freedom. Mum gave me a list of instructions and emergency numbers. She went over it twice just to be sure I understood, her voice a mix of caution and pride. Dad just ruffled my hair and said, "You'll be grand, son." He winked at me, making me feel braver than I actually was. The Hendersons next door promised to help if I needed anything. They were like a second family, always ready with a plate of biscuits or a helping hand. The moment my parents' car left, I did a little victory dance in the living room. I couldn't help myself. I was finally in charge, even if just for a night. The house was all mine. I could eat what I wanted, turn up the telly, and just be free. I piled my plate high with snacks and settled in for an evening of my favorite shows. The silence wasn't scary, it was brilliant. For the first time, I noticed how peaceful our house could be when it was just me. I felt like the king of the castle. Every room was mine to explore, every moment was mine to enjoy. What could possibly go wrong in a town as peaceful as ours? Nothing ever happened here. At least that's what I thought. I was sure this would be the best night ever. I had big plans for snacks, movies, and maybe even staying up past midnight. I had no idea how wrong I'd be. Sometimes, even in the quietest towns, the unexpected finds you when you least expect it. My plan was simple: video games and pizza. I'd been waiting to play my new adventure game without my little sister around. First, I called Tony's place and ordered a large pepperoni pizza and a can of Coke. Ordering by myself felt so grown up. With 45 minutes to wait, I set up my game and settled into the sofa. The house glowed with the colors of the TV, and I was lost in my digital world. No bedtime, no interruptions, just me and my game. Time flew by as I explored forests and beat bosses. Then the doorbell rang. Pizza time. I grabbed the money, unlocked the door, and the smell of hot pizza hit me. I was ready for my feast. It was shaping up to be the perfect night. I had no idea it was about to change. I opened the door to a tired, spotty-faced delivery driver. He handed me the pizza and took the money. Just as I was about to close the door, he asked, "Are you in on your own tonight then?" My mum's warning echoed in my head. "Don't tell anyone you're alone." I lied, "Nah, my dad's just in the shower." He nodded, but his eyes lingered a bit too long before he left. I quickly locked the door, suddenly uneasy. Why would he ask that? I tried to brush it off. Maybe it was just small talk. But the excitement of the night was tinged with worry. I took my pizza to the living room, appetite fading. I tried to lose myself in my game again. I told myself I was just being silly, but the feeling wouldn't go away. An hour later, I was deep in my game when a loud, urgent knock shattered the quiet. My heart pounded as I muted the TV. Who would be knocking this late? I crept to the door and peered through the peephole. A big man in a dark coat stood in the shadows. He knocked again, louder. "Hello, is anyone in there? My car's broken down. I need to use your phone." My mum's warning screamed in my head. "Don't open the door to anyone." I stayed silent, hoping he'd leave, but he didn't. He jiggled the doorknob. My heart leapt. He was testing the door. Suddenly I thought of the pizza driver. Had he told this man I was alone? The safe, happy night I'd planned was turning into a nightmare. I backed away from the door, panic rising. I realized I wasn't as safe as I thought. The quiet town didn't feel so quiet anymore. I needed help. My mind raced, thoughts tumbling over each other in a blur of panic and confusion. Every possibility, every worst-case scenario flashed before my eyes in an instant. I grabbed the phone and called my mum, hands shaking so badly I could barely press the buttons. My breath came in short, shallow bursts as I tried to steady myself. She answered, her voice instantly serious when I told her about the man at the door. I could hear the fear in her voice too as she tried to stay calm for my sake. "Don't open the door, Aunt. We're coming home. I'm calling the police. Stay on the phone and hide," she instructed, her words sharp and urgent, cutting through my panic. I crouched behind the kitchen counter, whispering updates, trying to keep my voice steady. Every sound in the house seemed amplified, every creak and groan making my heart race faster. Then I heard a scraping sound at the back window, a slow, deliberate noise that sent chills down my spine. He was trying to get in another way, moving around the house like a predator searching for a weakness. "Mum, he's in the garden," I whispered, terror in my voice, barely able to get the words out. My hands were slick with sweat, gripping the phone like a lifeline. She told me to get upstairs and hide in their bedroom wardrobe, her voice trembling but determined. I moved as quietly as I could, every step feeling like it might give me away. Every step through the house felt like it echoed, the silence pressing in on me from all sides. I was hyper-aware of every sound, every shadow. I could hear him moving outside, trying doors and windows, relentless in his search for a way in. I slipped upstairs, heart pounding, and crawled into the wardrobe, pulling coats over me, trying to disappear into the darkness. I clutched the phone, barely breathing, every muscle tense, listening for any sign that he was coming closer. Downstairs, I heard glass shatter. He was inside. The sound was sharp, final. A line crossed that I couldn't uncross. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying he wouldn't find me, wishing I could just disappear. I'd never felt fear like that before, raw, paralyzing, and all-consuming. I waited, listening to his footsteps below, every creak of the floorboards making my heart skip a beat. Every second felt like an hour, the ticking of the clock in my ears louder than ever before. I just hoped help would come in time, clinging to the hope that I'd soon be safe again. I hid in the wardrobe, surrounded by my parents' clothes, barely daring to breathe. The intruder's footsteps echoed through the house, opening cupboards, searching. I clung to the phone, listening for any sign of help. My heart hammered in my chest. Then suddenly I heard sirens in the distance. The footsteps stopped, the back door slammed, shouts from outside. "Police, get on the ground!" I stayed hidden, frozen with fear. Heavy boots thudded up the stairs. "Police, is anyone here?" a calm voice called. The wardrobe door slid open and a torch beam found me. "You're safe now," the officer said gently. My parents burst into the room, hugging me tight, their arms trembling as much as mine. I could feel their fear melting away as they held me, and for a moment the world outside faded into the background. Meanwhile, the police moved quickly and quietly, clearing every corner of the house, their flashlights sweeping over familiar walls that suddenly felt strange and unfamiliar. Relief washed over me. I'd never felt so safe or so grateful to be surrounded by people who cared. The fear that had gripped me was slowly replaced by a sense of security. The police told us the man was a known burglar, someone they'd been searching for in the area. The pizza driver had tipped him off that a kid was home alone, never realizing the danger he was inviting to our doorstep. That night changed how I saw our quiet town. The streets I'd always thought of as safe now seemed full of hidden risks. Even the safest places have dangers lurking in the shadows, and sometimes trouble finds you when you least expect it. I learned to be careful, to trust my instincts, and to listen to that small voice inside that tells you when something isn't right. I promised myself to never open the door to strangers, no matter how harmless they might seem, but most of all, I learned there's nothing like being found safe by the people who love you and knowing you're not alone. The flashing blue lights outside faded into the night, but their presence left a mark on my memory. The lesson stayed with me, echoing in my mind every time I heard a siren or saw a police car drive by. I never took safety for granted again, always double-checking the locks and making sure our home was secure before bed. And I never ordered pizza alone after dark, no matter how hungry or brave I felt. The house felt different after that night, still home, but now filled with new caution and a deeper appreciation for the people around me. It was never quite the same, and I found myself more aware of every sound and shadow. I was grateful for my parents, for the police who responded so quickly, and for the warning that saved me from something much worse. In the end, I was just glad to be safe, and that was enough for me to sleep soundly, knowing I was truly protected.